Live Q&A. Hey everyone, live Q&A. Three questions today, as always. This one, let's jump right into it. By the way, if you find any value of this, either subscribe to the YouTube channel or fire in a review, which would be amazing, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Let's jump right into it. So a few questions that have come in this week, actually, through buyers and through people that I've been working with on the ground level. What is the buyer process? And typically when I'm working with buyers, the first thing we'll have a quick discovery call, and then we'll sit down for either an in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting. And what that does is we go through the whole process A to Z, so that way, once we actually get out there and go shopping, they already kind of know what that process is going to look like. And then it makes things a lot easier when it comes time to make an offer, because my job is to educate and to prep my buyers for those times. So the home buyer process typically works like this, and obviously there are more details, but for the sake of the live Q&A, I'll just kind of go over the steps. So first step, meet with the clients. We sit down for a buyer strategy call. Then we get the paperwork done, and the paperwork essentially initiates the relationship between myself and clients. And there's two types of relationship. It's either the clients can be, or the buyers can either be clients, and when they're clients, that's my fiduciary duty to represent them and lawfully and keep everything confidential, of course. If it's a customer agreement, which is the other option, customer agreements are where essentially a buyer comes to me and is like, I want to put an offer on this place at X price, and I don't give them any type of guidance on there. I don't represent them as a client. Essentially, a customer representation is typically used when I'm listing a property and a buyer comes in and wants to buy the property. I represent the sellers in that situation, so I can write the offer for the buyer, but I don't represent the buyer as a client. And essentially, when we're navigating through the market, if you're in a customer representation agreement, it is tougher for me to guide you, because essentially the contract says that, it's not a client relationship in that sense. Next step, after we are in agreement, then we start to go look at properties, and in that buyer call, that's where we discuss like all the everything you're looking for in the process. Then we get started going look at properties, and if we get to the point where we want to make an offer, we write up the offer, and it's my job to write up the offer, of course, and then we go through it together, make sure that everything that my clients want is in the offer. And yeah, then if it's an offer date, two types of offers. So either the offer is, the property is listed at its list price and we submit an offer, and if there's no competition, maybe we can negotiate with the seller in that situation. If it's a multiple offer scenario, then that's when there's usually a set time where the listing agent's going to present the offers to the seller. So we would submit our offer and then essentially wait and hear back, depending how many offers are on the property, wait and hear back on where we stand, if we have a chance to maybe improve, maybe not, maybe we're, at the bottom of the pile, maybe we're at the top of the pile. Essentially, that's the offer process, and I'm not going to get too detailed into it today, but those are the two types of offers. If the offer is accepted, then you have to come up with a deposit. If you're just submitting an offer on a property that's listed on the market, no offer date, typically you get that check in within 24 hours. And you can do that as well on an offer date, but it will make your offer a little more attractive if you're submitting the check with the offer. That always helps. And then from there, once that deposit's in, then we work to get the conditions taken care of. And those conditions, typically we have 3 to 5 days to get them done, whether it's status certificate review, home inspection, status on a condo, of course, home inspection on a condo or a house, and financing. Financing we'll typically do first, because if you can't get the financing, no sense of spending the money on a home inspector or a lawyer to get the status done. And then we work to get closing done. So after all the conditions are met and everything's good, then the deal is what we call firm. And then it steps to closing, which, depending how long between that time and the closing date, we'll work to get everything ready, get the hydro set up, get all the moving things set up. For me, we provide a moving concierge for all our clients that helps them navigate all that kind of stuff and get everything organized. And then a couple days before closing, that's when you're going to go meet with your lawyer, and the lawyer is going to say, okay, you owe X amount of money. This is where you come up with the rest of the down payment. Remember, your deposit is part of the down payment. Typically, deposit's 5%. So if you're putting down 20%, then you've already put in 5%. The deposit counts towards the down payment portion. And then the remaining balance, land transfer, all that stuff goes to the lawyer as well. And then on closing date, they will give you the time once the title has been transferred, money's been transferred, and you can go grab your keys and the place is yours. So that's a quick rundown of the full process of buying. And I know I went pretty quick there. I should do a video on that in entirety and take a little more time. Okay, next question. Can I use my RSP? If you're a first-time buyer, you can pull from your RSP to use towards your down payment. I believe you can pull up to, I think they just changed the limit, and I believe now it's, don't quote me on this, it used to be 15,000. I believe now it's 35,000, and you typically have 15 years to repay it. Now, it does have to be in your account for a certain amount of time, so if you are considering using your RSP, talk to your mortgage broker and see what that time is that they need that money in the account for before being able to use it. Or I believe it's 90 days. So just don't quote me on that, but I believe it has to be in your RSP for at least 90 days, and then you can pull it out to use it on the purchase. So talk to your lender about that. Last question, how's the Toronto market? Yeah, we've been seeing things definitely pick up in the last probably 2 weeks. I know I keep pulling stats and data and putting the stuff out that I've been seeing from a data perspective. I was just in what I've seen personally, working ground level with buyers last week. Yeah, we were in a competition, 15 offers on a property, another property, 7 offers, and then another property, 4 offers. Even just yesterday, went and saw 3 properties with buyers, and all 3 properties actually ended up having offers by the time I got home in the evening. So definitely seeing things pick up. Now, I'm not saying that we're in that crazy market that we were in a year ago, but definitely more activity than we saw last month at the start of the month for sure. And even in the last probably week, I'd say things have been relatively picking up. We will see from a data perspective where it all falls, but that's just what I've been seeing on the ground level. And prices are nowhere near, well, I wouldn't say nowhere near, but they're definitely not where they were a year ago today. But we have seen them come up a little bit from where they were in January. The listings that have been on the market since November, the stale ones, they're typically overpriced and need a lot of work. And that's why I feel like they're sitting on the market as just, a lot of time on market. If you can renovate and do a lot of work, you might find some really great opportunities in today's market. That's your live Q&A. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you next week.